Welcome to a special edition of Stay a While, recorded live on Radio Row at Super Bowl 59. I'm your host, Tommi Vincent, and we are going to be hearing some dynamic conversations with phenomenal guests here on Radio Row. So take a seat, get comfortable, and stay a while. This episode is sponsored by the House of Joy. Hi, everyone. This is Tommi Vincent, your host of Stay a While podcast. And today we have joining us at the table, Dan Gillison. Dan is the Chief Executive Officer at National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. Welcome to the table, Dan.
Thank you very much. It's so good to be here with you, Tommi, and thank you for the opportunity to share this space with you.
Absolutely. Listen, you and I have a mutual friend in Monica, and Monica speaks so highly of you and all of the work that you're doing and your leadership and your ability to really hone in on this space where we recognize that we have to make mental wellness a priority, especially with our young folks.
We must.
If we don't talk about it, if we don't disseminate information, we leave people with their own thoughts.
Yes.
And we're not providing them with the necessary information to make an informed decision about their wellness.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Let's do it. Thank you.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this place of priority where you are focusing in on HBCU college students.
Yes.
Their mental wellness. And the conjunction with their faith.
Oh, wow.
What is that about?
Well, what it's about, first of all, again, thank you. And secondly, I was an HBCU athlete. And the third thing
in what
is
sport?
Tennis.
Okay.
And I was asked to go out as a wide receiver after my first year. So that's either that I was either a pretty good wide receiver or I was a terrible tennis player. I don't know why but some kind of way they asked me if I'd try to play football, and something told me stay on the tennis court. So, and NIL back then was $25.
Oh, wow. But
so
at least you got something.
I did get something.
Some students didn't get anything.
That's right. So I do understand the student athlete and the stressors there, and I also understand the HBCU experience. Third thing I wanted to say is that you introduced me so pleasantly as a CEO. And yes, that's my title, but I come to this work as a father. I come to this work as a son. I come to this work as an uncle. And I want a better world for my nephews and my son and daughter. And I also want to represent this work for all of us. So as we look at that work and you look at the faith-based community, let me go there. In terms of what we know as first responders, in our community, the first responders have been the faith-based leaders. Those are the first people we go to because of a level of trust. So what we're looking at is the connective tissue between the faith-based on campus. We have a NAMI on campus program, and then the student athlete as well as the student. Okay. So we're trying to bring all of that connective tissue together. So in our body of work, in our portfolio.
What does NAMI look like on a campus? What does that entail?
Yeah, well, we have different chapters across the country, and we have student leaders that will start the chapter, and then they will have meetings throughout the year, normally on Wednesdays, and they bring the students together with a facilitator to just talk about how they're feeling. What are they feeling? And do they need to access some resources? So we do that for the students on the campus. Okay. And then what we're trying to do now, as we look at it, say, well, wait a minute, how are the professors doing? We talk about educators, we talk about teachers. Who's touching those students every day? Who's influencing those students every day? Who are those students looking to for coaching, counseling, and not just the academic piece? So we're trying to figure out how to do more in terms of our professors and our educators on the campus, and making sure that we circle around them and let them know they're not alone.
Yeah, I mentioned to you before we started that we did some activations this week.
Yes.
At the school. It was in Garyville, Louisiana. And we do our are work with the students during the day, and then after school, we hold a session for all of the teachers and faculty at the school. So any and everyone that is an adult on that campus. And the reason why we do that is to the point of what you made in regards with the professors, is where there's an expectation of them that is part of their responsibility. So this is their responsibility to invest in our future.
Mm-hmm.
However, if they're showing up and they aren't equipped to manage their own lives,
Mm-hmm.
they're coming in and they're potentially bleeding out on the students. They're not seeing the students for who they are. Everything now has this, they're looking at it through a lens of their own experiences and where they are right in this moment.
Yeah.
And in our conversation, when I was speaking with them, I could see that they were carrying a lot in their own personal life, and tears were rolling, and the faces were showing the weight of life right now for them.
Yes.
When you think about that and what you said about, you have this component of the professors, you have the students that you're looking to make sure they're well, how do you bridge that so that there is this piece where you're pouring into the adults responsible, and you're also helping them to be able to do that and invest in the future of the students?
Well, first of all, thank you for what you're doing and what you just shared in terms of the school. My wife was an educator for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
so I understand this in terms of what the educator goes through.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of what we do is, first of all, you have to create a judgment-free zone. You got to create a space, a safe space where the professors, the teachers can actually talk and they can share what they're navigating. So, and we do that with some of our programs. One of them is called Family to Family. So we can
You
actually
said family to family?
Family to Family.
Okay.
So that's one of the programs that we have, and we can model some of that learning into this context. But it's, to a great extent, we're a cosmetic society. We judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
And what we're trying to do with the teachers is, let's get into the table of contents in the chapters. What are you going through? What are you navigating? Because you do bring that to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
How can we help you with that? What do you need? And that's not me facilitating it. It's with it's with them and a facilitator through some of our learnings from Family to Family and some of our other programs where we can actually engage in that. The other part of that is that you can't just do that without piloting it, trying it, and actually scaling it after you try to see what works, what doesn't, what resonated, and how you can make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to create, and what we try to do is create small work groups of just being able to talk, like we're doing right now.
Right.
Rap. Hey, what are you navigating? When you and being comfortable asking the question, when you come to work, what are you bringing with you?
Mm-hmm.
We know you bring something. What does that look like? Because sometimes you don't. That professor, that teacher, that educator tries to keep it in, but it's very apparent.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparent in terms of how they show up. So, and the other thing we say is, you're not alone. And we've written, we want to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So in meeting people where they are, we've done a couple of things. One, we've created a podcast called Hope Starts With Us.
Mm.
And the other thing we've done is we've written 2 books. And we're not
just
publicist.
any books. You had a bestseller.
Yes, thank you very much. You know about us, do you? NAMI.org. But one of our books, You're Not Alone, The NAMI Guide to Navigating Mental Health, with over 130 first-person experiences of navigating, bipolar, navigating early psychosis, navigating schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
The stories are in the book. It's not written from one author. It's the story from that parent or that individual. And the individual navigating that, they've lent their name. So their name is in the book. The second one we wrote is for that You're Not Alone, the NAMI Guide for Parents and Caregivers.
Oh, wow. And
that one just came out, and it came out in September, the same month that the Surgeon General put out the study saying that over 48% of parents in the U.S. were feeling a great level of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to address it from multiple platforms and to help. Mm-hmm. So faith-based community, the educators. Oh, by the way, one group I forgot to mention, Divine Nine.
Okay.
So that's another part of the fabric that we're trying to construct. It's almost like a quilt. You know, a
Okay.
quilt has all these patches on it. Well, each one of these components that we're talking about is a patch. And the common thing through it is that thread. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. You know, when you were talking about the parent book, the book where it's giving the parents a guide,
Yes.
it made me think about my own journey with my children. And I had my sons were student athletes, and one of my sons in particular, there was a very dark season for him while he was in college competing because he had a season ending injury. And as a parent, I saw that he was in a dark place, but I did not know how to best serve him because he wasn't willing to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going off of a lot of assumptions, and I was doing my own check-ins to engage with him and to go on and popping up at the school just so he could see my face, I could see his face and make sure he was okay. But it made me think about how young people, especially boys, they don't communicate their feelings very well. So as a parent, how would you advise, and let's just say me, on how I can engage my children when I can see that they're in a space where they need something beyond my encouragement? How can I step in to point them and kind of nudge them? Because sometimes it's more than just a conversation, but get them in the right space to get the assistance they need.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. The first thing is, I said it before, making sure you know you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we have is family to family. And this is something where all of a sudden you're sitting there across from another parent that's navigating something similar. And in terms of tools, our second book was written by a child and adolescent psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got some tools in there in terms of what to do, what to say it, how to bring them out of that dark spot. And the other thing is that therapy is good. Young people, you know, we know that it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something NAMI does. We will point you to resources for it, but it does work. And the third thing is,
I know it works because I have my own therapist, but go ahead.
Yeah. There you go. I think the other part of it is sometimes providing that external resource that's not the mom or the dad for that young person, and having them realize that, you know what, you're not alone. My son had a really bad injury in high school that really prevented him from matriculating through, and he was I guess you can say a 2-star athlete, and very good at both. And this injury kept him from participating in either, and he went into a very dark place. And it took some counseling to help him. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
So it's almost that third party. Mom, dad, we want to fix it.
Oh gosh.
We want to fix it.
So
we see the
bad.
pain. We see the pain, and you almost want to take it from them and say, I'll do this myself. I'll take it, and you can't. So actually, trying to get them with a resource, a therapist or something, is a good thing. There's sports therapists, there's mental health therapists, there's different kinds of third parties for our young people.
Yeah, no, I that is really good. So before I let you go, I would like for you to share with our listening audience, and this journey that you've been on, you've accomplished many things throughout your career.
Yes.
And now you are, steering the ship, if you will, at NAMI, and giving us an opportunity to really take a look at our mental wellness. And thank you for that. Will you share in that journey what you believe to be the greatest lesson to date that you acquired that helps you to stay focused and committed to the work that you're doing?
Wow, what a powerful question. What a powerful question. I think the first thing is, for me, is examining my why and staying true to my why, but also answering the question for myself and doing that, what I call personal reflection. What's my why? And then that frames my work.
Yes.
So that's it. And in terms of my journey, I spent 32 years in the private sector, and I looked at this as an opportunity to give back, because as long as I was in the private sector, every time we had a, Christmas in April and all that, I was always giving back. And then I found the opportunity to actually be a change agent and to make a difference in other people's lives. So my why in this work is that I lost my contemporary, who I grew up with. I mean, we were like brother and sister. We were the oldest in our family, and we grew up together. We were to be the first to go to college. We were pretty much inseparable, and she lost her life to suicide. And I saw the ripple effect of that to my family. We never talked about it. We never socialized it. We never sought help, to any counseling to get through it. We didn't know about NAMI. Not only did that happen, but her dad, my uncle, was a semi-pro football player. He was about 6'4", about 255, 260, and I loved him to death. And he actually taught me how to run across the middle and catch a pass. He was outstanding. He succumbed to substance abuse after his daughter passed. That man was about 120 pounds when he passed away. So those two events have framed a lot of my why, from the standpoint, I don't want any other family to go through that. And it's trying to help me stay true to who I am. And the other part of it is, I want to make sure that I do something that my family can be proud of in terms of giving back and making a difference.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And that adds weight to what you do and why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful, because you're not just someone in a position over something that has great gravity and magnitude, but you have an undercurrent that's propelling your ship forward of meaning and purpose. Because if you can save someone else from succumbing to those two things, it's a way that you're still loving those individuals and representing them in the earth. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate you so much. And thank you for the work you're doing, Tommi. These are the conversations that make a difference. We're trying to really reduce the stigma and increase the conversations.
Yes.
And this is a wonderful platform on which to do it. And we're partnering with Stay Healthy Zone in terms of some of our work. And we have some other partnerships that really, because you have to do it in partnership.
Absolutely.
And in collaboration.
Yes. My husband and I just talked about that. We can do so much more if we're just willing to collaborate.
Yeah.
We don't have to have all the answers. When you work with someone else, you all bring your resources to the table and you get stuff done. So I'm all for collaboration.
Yeah. Think about the other C word. If you're not collaborating, you're competing.
Oh, yeah.
And in this work, you can't, you have to collaborate.
Yes.
You have to collaborate.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, Dan, I am so grateful that you've taken time to come and stay a while with me, and just know that you are welcome anytime. And this conversation is welcome on this platform anytime.
Well, thank you so much. And if your listeners are looking to reach out and find resources, you can go to NAMI.org, or you can call our helpline. Our helpline is at 1-800-950-6264. And that helpline is staffed by volunteers from all across the country to help you navigate and find resources. So thank you. And thank you, Tommi, for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. I hope you felt the love and connection in today's conversation. Every woman you heard from has faced the impossible and emerged stronger. This is your personal invitation to stay a while longer at TommiV.com. That's TOMMIV.com for more inspiration for your mind, body, and soul. And let's not forget your belly. You're always welcome at my table. Please be sure to subscribe, make yourself at home, and stay a while.